Aloha and welcome, everyone. Happy holidays. We're getting closer to the holiday season. This is Jen Mons, your host with the Body and Soul Wisdom Podcast. And I am here this week with a very, very lovely guest, Mary Beth Perrone. She is the co-founder of Women's Wellness Fest and the owner and founder of Radiate Wellness. She has a passion for women's holistic health and wellness in many, many different forms and capacities, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the good things I love to talk about. Through her work as a CEO founder of Radiate Wellness, she's helped thousands of women through their perimenopause and menopause journey. I think I'm in that realm of women right now. And she is also the co-founder and host of the Women's Wellness Fest, which I am honored to be a guest keynote speaker for in April of 2024. And she has empowered thousands of women by creating the largest women's wellness fest in Florida by offering healing modalities to empower, nurture, and rejuvenate women's mind, body, and soul, and so much more. So welcome, Mary Beth. Thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited because we just had a lovely event over the weekend, kind of a kickstart party to the Women's Wellness Fest with all the amazing presenters and a photo shoot party. And the energy in the room was just absolutely amazing. And I was so happy to be a part of that. So welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Absolutely. So after we saw each other on Sunday, I said we've got to do a Facebook Live and get this message out because I know everybody is probably stepping into their holiday quote busyness and doing all the things that we think we're supposed to do for the holidays. And I also know that wellness is going to be top of mind for everybody once the new year comes around because I've been in this space for 17 years and I've just seen the pattern over and over again. And tomorrow is the final day to grab your ticket for those locally, or even if you want to fly in and really be a part of a super special women's wellness community event here in North Florida, those early bird tickets are going away after tomorrow. So I thought it's a great time to just have you on the show and celebrate about what we have to offer. So would you be willing to share a little bit? How did you become so passionate about women's wellness? When did this start for you? Because you had a former career owning your own business and in fashion business, and maybe you've had several other businesses, but what brought you to this passion and love for women's health?
So I've always been in the wellness space, but just in different capacities. I did all the leggings for like Soul Cycle and Peloton and Anthropology. And so I was very engrossed in that world and going to events all over the country for women's wellness. But I feel like as I evolved and my life started to change, I really started to feel differently and wanted to dive deeper. And I think a real wake up for me is when I turned 38 and perimenopause hit me like a ton of bricks. And I just kept chalking it off as stress. And it was actually perimenopause symptoms. And that just set me on this beautiful journey. Sometimes I call it a rabbit hole because the more I learn, the more I want to learn. And just big life shifts happened, and I started Radiate Wellness. And then I took all the favorite parts that I had through my fashion business. I worked for a company called Wellnes, and they would do white tours of yoga. And I'm like, the energy was amazing. It was male and female, but I'm like, what if something was created like that for just women? And I was like, let's do it. Let's go for it. So it's been really beautiful to watch it grow.
Oh, I love that. And I totally agree with you. There's something I don't know that you can know it or put words to it until you experience it, but when you're on this path of growing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and you find the community of people and the tribe of people who are really passionate about supporting well-being in the world, which in my opinion, and you probably agree with this, makes the world a better place, makes us happier and healthier, not only in our work, but in our homes. You wonder like what I want to be a part of that. Like, what are they eating? What are they wearing? How are they, what are they doing differently? Because I want to feel good in my body as well. And so what you're saying is age 38 for perimenopause. I want to speak a little bit about perimenopause. I've had a couple of guests on the show to really speak about pro-aging as women and wellness, and there is a sliding scale of age and symptoms that can really come with that. I think I'm probably at 46, maybe just dipping the toe in what that is. And I feel really grateful that I have the knowledge and resources around me to really just be aware. And I'm even more grateful that women are willing to come forward and just talk about it and just be like, it's okay if you feel like crap. It's okay if all of a sudden you're gaining weight and you don't know why. It's okay if you're not sleeping, which is probably one of the symptoms that sometimes happens for me. Oh, and another thing that's happening is, why is my hair clogging the drain in the shower right now? I've like literally transformed into complete outdoor shower space because every time I was in the indoor shower, it's like, oh, look, there's like just going to clean the drain out. And those would kind of be the things that I'm dealing with right now. Would you be willing to just open up the conversation around like what is even perimenopause? What is menopause? Just enlighten us a little bit about, kind of the age and the symptoms and the things that women might be experiencing, because this is where having the conversation and giving women permission to know that there's not actually anything wrong with you. We can age gracefully. We can really own the wisdom that comes with aging gracefully. There is a way to care for your body differently than you did in your 30s or your 20s. And I think it's a really important conversation to have. So could you share with us a little bit about how would somebody know what is perimenopause? What is that even all about? Just for somebody who's wondering if this is something that they might be stepping into.
So it can start in your mid 30s and it's your transition into menopause, and it can last anywhere from 2 to 10 years. Generally speaking, the average age of menopause in the United States is 51 years old. And a lot of women think they are in menopause, but they're not. True menopause is not having a menstrual cycle for 365 days. So I always get women coming to me saying, my periods are spreading out, which is typical when you're transitioning into menopause, but you're not quite there yet. So that is a big misconception. And helping thousands of women, a lot of the first symptoms that they'll see in their mid 30s and some in their early 40s, just depending on your body and your lifestyle and whatnot. But it's definitely a lot of women talk about the lack of sleep. Their sleep starts to be affected, the weight gain. I hear very often this newfound anxiety. That was a big one for me. I'm pretty, I am into fitness and wellness, and I always have been. And like this newfound anxiety that I never had, I was like, what is going on with me? And I kept chalking it off as stress because I traveled a lot, but it was like a new thing that I had not dealt with. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we very often hear sleep, weight gain as some of the beginning parts. And then as we're working through perimenopause, I hear as women are farther into it, the hair loss comes. There's so many symptoms. I do have a symptoms tracker on Radiate Wellness that I had custom designed, Radiate Wellness products. And I go through with women, but like the aha moments that women have when they start to hear the symptoms are like, wait, that is related to this, like the dryness in your skin, these new odors, all these different things. And at first I was like, it's everything less of growing horns. How could this humanly be possible? But all these symptoms are coming out. But then when you learn what your hormones are, and I always say it's like a lock looking for a key in your body. If you are off balance, it affects your entire body and everything in your body. And that's why there's so many symptoms. But when I first had, was learning in the space and mentored by a top expert in the space, I was like, how could this be? How could all this be for women? And, it has shifted. It's so nice that we're finally getting attention. There's finally people speaking about it. There's more information out there. When I started 5 years ago, it was a lot less. So it's an exciting time, but there's still such a lack of any sort of testing going on. The funding is so minimal. So it's nice to see the change, but we still have a long way to go on this. So.
And this is where it begins, is just having the platform for conversations to open up to just awareness. I think is the first step, right? Just the awareness that of what you're going through, and not making it wrong or judging it, but just knowing that if you have that awareness, then you can seek the support that you need. Then you can, look for the resources available to, so that you can feel better, because that the beautiful part about it is that you don't have to suffer. And I think that's one of the, I know in my own wellness journey, and I've been in the wellness space as a leader and a coach for, almost 17 years in very different capacities, working with women's wellness through a functional medicine approach, and supporting women through nutrition and breath work and yoga and the whole part. I want to ask you, being where we are and being in the wellness space, how do you define well-being? How do you define wellness for women at this stage of life? Because I think what's important to note is that what we focus on and what our idea of wellness is, it changes throughout the decades, throughout our ages, depending on whether we're in childbearing years or when we're in our 20s, we're just kind of like fitness is all about maybe looking good. And then in our 30s, maybe it's about having babies. And then, it keeps evolving. What is the picture of wellness in your mind? How would you share wisdom on what that is for women in this age, this stage of life?
think for me, it's really feeling beautiful in your own skin and feeling good of where you're at. And I working with so many women, like it is almost this grieving process, and we don't really talk about it like that, but it is like our bodies are changing, our looks are changing. We are so in a society that we have to look young, stay looking young. And I find it like even speaking to women, like they and me included, right? I used to be able to run 6 miles no problem. Now when I run 4, I feel like I've run a marathon, and I'm so proud of myself. And like as we do change, it's like accepting these shifts and learning what we're going through. But I think well-being is how you feel in your own skin and working through that process. And there's no one size fits all. And I think that's another thing. Comparison can kill you, right? Like that's one of the worst things. And I think there's just so much comparison now with social media and this all these different platforms of how I should look, how I should be. And as we know, a lot of it is made up, and how they want to present themselves. So you can't
Yeah.
really compare yourself to someone that has a staff of 25 people in a glam squad all the time, and you're like, well, why don't I look like that? It's like that's we're setting these unrealistic expectations, and it's all here. Like that's what women need to know with your well-being. It is all right here. It's all in you. It's not outside you. It's
Mm.
here. So
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like in my own personal journey, the stage that I've been at for probably 4 or 5 years, and I've put in a lot of work on the front in wellness with nutrition and detoxification. So that part I don't even have to think about, or movement, which I feel really grateful for. And the piece that I've really been stepping into in the last like 4 or 5 years is really the sense of like freedom and peace, and that well-being is can be really relaxed. Like it doesn't have to be, I mean, even in my own journey when I was doing integrative health coaching, a lot of what I taught, and I still believe in it to some aspect, but a lot of it was like through the elimination diet and really trying to reduce allergies and reduce autoimmunity. And although that does work at this stage in life, it doesn't really work the same, because this stage of life is really about now replenishing. And so it's the way that I've even shifted the way that I eat and or mentor women depending on the phase of life they're in. It's really important to understand that at this stage of life, you do need more protein, you do need more collagen, you do need more healthy fats. We always needed them, but they're even more important now. And so that was one of the major shifts I myself even had to make in my own life, and even in just the women that I was mentoring. And I think it's just important to note, like you said, not one size fits all. And not only that, but where you are at whatever time that is the right time for you. And that's also an important part of it, is knowing where you are in the cycle of what your body is doing and what your body needs, because it's just everyone has a different cycle. What are some of, so you're a person who has brought this beautiful community of women together in Northeast Florida. And I'm so grateful that I live here and I get to be a part of this. I know I myself have been the founder and creator of a couple of wellness events as well in Florida. I know that a lot of love and work go into these things, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. And you created this because you have a passion for wellness, and you also see that wellness is such a broad variety of modalities, and you have that grasp on that. It's not, some people think of wellness events, or maybe they've been to a wellness event that is going to be mostly like traditionally supported. So you might have some, nutritionists or doctors or experts, or the Mayo Clinic might be there, Blue Cross Blue Shield, right? Like we've certainly been to those types of wellness events. How is the event that you've created? What's the vision behind it? And how is that different from other wellness events that you've been to or that are probably happening in our area?
So I think first and foremost, with working with women, the one common thread I saw, no matter where they were in their journey, is we need community, and it is proven scientifically that it prolongs our life, community, and all these different studies that are coming out. So community is one thread that I saw every single woman need it. And to me, it's huge. And bringing together like-minded people, we know energy is contagious, but when you create a safe space for women to come together and it's all high vibes, no comparison, no judgment, that is where shifts and magic happen. And like the Women's Wellness Fest, I always say it's like an appetizer platter. Like, come check it all out and see what felt right to you, and then deeper dive into that. So, like, come taste it all and see what you want. And what, as it's evolved and as I'm learning, and everything's a learning process, like I've facilitated different things that if you don't want to listen what's on the main stage and it doesn't align with your heart, there's yurts behind and they have workshops going on all day. So that gives you the power to go there. You're not feeling any of it, go walk on the beach. You want to go shop, go shop. So it's very free, and it's very freeing for women to have the permission to do whatever they want. Like, you go to these conferences and you almost feel weird getting up or not participating. This is the complete opposite of it. It is your day, your time, your space. Do whatever you want. Like, come and do what you want, feel what you want to feel, just be open. And I have to say, just watching the seeds grow through this past 3 years has been it's why I keep doing it, and it's a labor of love. But women have come to me and said it's shifted their whole life from one day. They never knew other women could be this kind to them, or they had finally the strength to leave an abusive marriage, and all these beautiful things. They lost a loved one. It was the first time they came out in a group of women and felt the love. Like, it's such a beautiful thing. And I see women going on vacations now that met there. And I see my daughter, even my daughter, and that to me, how she's proud of me, but she's planting those seeds of positivity because she's experienced it. Like, we lead by example, and that to me is the best work we could be doing, right? It really is. So
Oh, you're speaking my language. I just I just had a moment of I was thinking of I think we were talking about this the other day on Sunday. The most rewarding part, the icing on the cake is that when we live this, and we both have daughters. I know you have a son too, but and then you start to see that they're living it as well, and they didn't have to learn the hard way, like that they needed to value their health, or that they needed to visualize or journal or practice breath work, that they picked it up just from watching you, or my girls have picked it up from watching me. It is might be the most rewarding. I know you and I love to serve other women, but it is really a proud moment when we see that our children are embodying that as well. And I had a big smile on my face because recently I was looking at my older daughter, who's in school in Hawaii right now. She's coming home for Christmas tomorrow. I can't wait to see her. But she, in her planner, it said notes, it like on the side where it says notes, it said change the world. I was like, oh, no big,
yes, yes,
no,
girl.
but like no like small thing, right? Like, just that was like her to-do list, like change the world.
Yes,
Just
and
like,
she will, and
I
she
mean,
will.
but
Yeah.
how wonderful to think, like, when you're 16 or 17, that, oh, I'm just gonna like change the world. And all you really have to do is just be who you are and take care of yourself and honor yourself in a way that gives others permission to do the same, which is so beautiful about bringing people together for this. community. I want you to say and share about the types of practitioners and leaders that are coming to this event, because it is very unique and it might be aligned with some of the daily practices that you have, some of the values that you have. I know as as somebody who's been in the wellness industry myself for 17 years, my personal journey has always evolved. In the very beginning, I was really focused on nutrition for about 7 years, and then that really shifted based on a second health crisis into mindset and breath work and yoga, and then eventually to energy work. And I've always incorporated sound healing and breath work in my own with my own clients. And I know that, and also dance and embodiment and movement are also things that I incorporate in my retreats. And I know that there's a lot of that happening at your retreat, which I really want you to share about, because it's not, I think, what people think. I think people's idea of wellness or well-being can be really different. And I want to really open the eyes to the people in our community that are coming to this event that there is. Can you share a little bit about like what's going to be happening and who's going to be there? Because there really are a lot of really different modalities offered and a lot of really talented people in our community.
There's so many talented people in our community, and we have everything from meditation to breath work to sound healing to Reiki to human design to amazing keynote speakers like you, and journaling. So there is so many different healing modalities that are taking place. We're going to do ecstatic dance. So there's so many things that are going to be going on. Nutrition, detox. I mean, I can go on and on and on. What I'm really excited about, which we haven't done, is that we are ending with a drum circle with over 200 instruments, 100 drums. So like the energy of that is going to be so fun. So there is something for everyone. And if it feels so far outside of your comfort zone, like I would say, come and try a few things, and you might be surprised what you like. It's always interesting to me because I love hearing from everyone that comes what they like the best when they leave and what resonated with them. And it's always so interesting what everyone loves and aligns with them. But I mean, I've had people say like, wow, the aha moment came when I was, in the sound healing, or I felt my moment when I felt love from a complete stranger. Or, I mean, that's the beautiful part, because we all are so unique and different. And it's so interesting what resonates with all of us. I mean, I love one lady. She was like, my favorite part was standing online to get my taco, and I met a new best friend. I'm like, hey, I'm glad, I'm glad that's what it was for you. It's something different for everyone. And that's what makes it fun. Last year, the hula hooping, I don't think I have seen so many grown women with bigger smiles on their face and pure joy. I'm like, who knew just moving our hips, like we forget the power of play. We forget these things. So seeing, 100 women with these huge smiles to me was like, wow, like this is everything. So I love that there's so many different things to choose from.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I'm super excited for the drum ceremony too. Like drum circles are so fun. And I love that you've created the space just for people to just play and just be fun and have freedom and express and look at wellness through the lens of like being versus doing. I think that's really a shift that we're all being invited into, is like it can be whatever whatever you need at this stage of life, whatever your body needs. And sometimes that stress or the whatever's pent up inside of you, all you really need is looking somebody else in the eye and or dancing without feeling any judgment, or maybe it is that you need a new nutrition plan, or maybe it is beating on a drum or chanting. I mean, there's so many wonderful things that you can do for your well-being, and we're going to have a lot of these at the Women's Wellness Fest. It's always on Earth Day, is that correct? That's how it's been in the past, or
it falls around that Saturday. So this year's April 20th, so it's not quite the day, but
okay. So
we love to celebrate Pachamama, Mother Earth, and be together on the beach. So I try to align it as close as I can to it. Yeah.
Wonderful. So this year it's going to be April 20th. Today is Thursday, December 14th. Tomorrow is the last day to grab your early bird ticket, so I will drop the link in the comments for that. And then for those listening to the podcast, we get the link to your symptom tracker that's on Radiate
Yeah.
Wellness? Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Um
I did want to
before
bring
we
up one more quick thing though
yeah,
too, is not taking things too seriously, because I've had a lot
yeah,
of women be worried and like, I can't move and I can't do this, and like, don't
yeah,
let your can'ts, limit you from sharing just energy. Like, if you can't move, who cares? Lay on a towel all day and just soak in the energy. But I think we're also in this place that everything's so serious, and I'm probably different than many coaches. I'm like, no, life's not that serious, and you don't have to do it all at once, right? Like, I think we just make these like goal driven plans, and I'm very different. I'm like, try one thing, and like that one thing feels good, and then you add on another thing, and that's where real change happens. When we take things too seriously, like, I feel like we land up doing the complete opposite and becoming stressed out. And one of my favorite things like I saw was like, I'm so stressed out, I had to go to meditation, yoga, and whatever. Like, no, that's not what it's about. Like, you shouldn't
yeah,
stress for healing modalities. You should come and just be, right? Just be.
yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. I've done a couple podcasts on that about stop being so serious. I think one of the best things we can do for our well-being is just to remember to have fun. And I tell this to my girls all the time, like, do not be in a hurry to be an adult. Like, it's really overrated. And then I think like why I wonder like why as adults we lose that joy and that playfulness. And there certainly is a really delicate, interesting balance to our idea of what we have to do to create quote success and then also enjoy life. That's where I'm very much like in my mentorship with women, it's all about building your business around your life. So put the things in place that are of value to you first. And fun happens to be one of my values. And I happen to get that through a lot of travel, but also through dance and through, just honestly hanging out with my dog and surfing and things like that. But you've got to have those things in place because they are what I have learned over, 17 years of being in wellness is you can eat as healthy as you want and you can have all of the treatments that you want for whatever autoimmunity you're dealing with or whatever. But when I had my second health crisis in 2014 and I was eating super, super healthy, I literally very loudly, clairaudient heard this message. You can eat as healthy as you want, but if you don't heal your spirit, it won't matter. And I was
Chill.
like, whoa, because I was believed so passionately about healing with whole foods. And I had done that in my personal life and with my family. And I just needed to realize that health was multidimensional and joy and connection, like you said, community and connection are also one of my values, a very important part of our well-being as well. So when we can start to look at health is not something we do, but something that we are, when we can start to really attune and listen to our bodies and what we need, and we can create connection and community, which you offer several ways to do that. We can learn more ways to take care of ourselves at an event like you're offering through Women's Wellness Fest. And for those of you that are listening in who might not be locally and if you want to come to Jacksonville, let us know. We'll take extra special care of you, especially if you're a guest on this show. But look in your local event, or maybe if you are a wellness person, maybe find somebody to collaborate with. It can be something small. It doesn't have to be a big festival. I know for many, many years, I led smaller women's circles of 10 people or 20 people with new moon gatherings or things like that. There's so many different ways that you can create tribe and community, either online or in person, whatever speaks to you. There's a place for all of it, and all of it is needed. But I really want to just close with the idea that that connection and that community and that space to share wisdom is it's priceless. It is so like it's such a beautiful like wellspring of well-being and just light and energy that everyone in it benefits from it. And also for those listening, if you're in that stage of where we began our conversation of midlife, perimenopause, menopause, check out Radiate Wellness. There's a plethora. There are a lot of wonderful products. I myself have used them. I really like Joy and Rest, and those happen to be my two favorite. But there are also, am I saying those right? Well, I don't know the name of it, but you know
Yeah.
which ones I mean.
Yeah.
There's the
Mhm.
joy and the rest. Okay,
Yeah.
those are the two that I like. So, but that's just because that's where I am. And I would invite you to check them out. If you're listening to the podcast, we'll drop some of those links. If you're listening live, we'll drop the link as well to Radiate Wellness and to the Women's Wellness Fest. And if you're listening and you are seeking that community, that connection, that tribe of really high vibing women, and I'm telling you that just a few days ago, I was with all of the presenters and the leaders and facilitators of the event, and they are super high vibing, really great energy. In fact, I sent you a message, Mary Beth. I was like, just uplifting you because I have been in several circles of wellness and that the energy was just really amazing, which really just speaks to the space that you create. So if you're looking for that, we'd love to see you on April 20th. And yeah, I don't know if there's any wisdom that you'd like to share as we close, but do you have anything you'd like to share? Any little nuggets of wisdom?
I think the biggest thing is just be in your own skin, love where you're at, and join us because we have a beautiful community, and I can't wait to meet everyone. I love it. So fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mary Beth, for your time today. Thank you for your commitment and devotion to creating this community and for all the things that you do. And thank you to our listeners for listening in. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day and coming up on a wonderful weekend. Aloha,
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Thanks, Jen.